Don't walk away from the one person who actually sees you. Who is she? She doesn't love you. She loves what you own. Excuse me. Who gave you the right?
She told him the truth he wasn't ready for, and the CEO's response broke every rule he lived by. The secret she kept for 26 years. The hallway outside Marcus Caldwell's corner office smelled like fresh roses and expensive ambition, two things that had absolutely nothing to do with Elena Hartley's life. She stood there, clipboard pressed against her chest like a shield, wearing the only nice dress she owned, a red spaghetti strap number she'd bought 3 years ago for her cousin's wedding and never worn again. Tonight was different. Tonight was the Caldwell Industries annual gala, and Elena had been personally assigned to handle the CEO's private schedule for the evening. Don't mess this up, she told herself. Just 3 more months and you'll have enough saved to move Mom closer. At 26, Elena had learned to measure her life in goals, not dreams. Goals were achievable. Dreams got people hurt. The frosted glass door swung open before she could knock. Marcus Caldwell filled the doorway the way powerful men always did, effortlessly. Like the space around him had no choice but to rearrange itself. 6'2", built like someone who still found time to work out despite running a billion-dollar company, wearing a royal blue suit that fit him with surgical precision. His dark eyes swept over her once, quick, assessing, completely unreadable.
"You're the event coordinator. They sent me."
"Elena Hartley, sir. I'll be managing your schedule for this evening." He stepped back to let her in. "You're 12 minutes early."
"I know, I'm sorry. Don't apologize for that."
He was already moving back toward his desk, picking up his phone. "I respect punctuality. Most people in this building treat deadlines like suggestions." Elena exhaled slowly. "Okay, we're off to a decent start." The gala was everything Elena had imagined, and nothing she'd prepared for emotionally. 300 guests filled the Caldwell Industries rooftop ballroom. Venture capitalists, fashion moguls, senators' wives, tech founders who wore sneakers to black tie events on purpose. Elena moved through the crowd like a ghost. Earpiece in, clipboard gone, heels she was already regretting clicking against the polished marble floor. Marcus was flawless in these settings. She watched him from across the room without meaning to watch, the way he shook hands and held eye contact and laughed at the right moments. He was performing, yes, but unlike most people in that room, there was something underneath the performance. Something tired. Something real. "Stop watching him," she told herself. "You work for him." At 9:47 p.m., the night cracked open. A woman in a silver gown, stunning, polished, the kind of beautiful that came with personal trainers and vitamin drips, found her way to Marcus's side and slipped her hand onto his arm with the ease of someone claiming property. "Marcus, darling, we need to talk about the Montclair deal." "Not tonight, Diane. It's always not tonight with you." Her voice dropped, but Elena was close enough to hear. "You know, people are starting to wonder if the great Marcus Caldwell is actually afraid of commitment, in business and everywhere else." Something flickered across his face. Not anger, something older than that. "That's enough," he said quietly. "Is it?" Diane smiled like a blade. "Because from where I'm standing, you've been alone for 3 years and you're not even bothered by it. That's not ambition, Marcus. That's damage." She walked away before he could respond. Elena looked down at her clipboard and pretended she hadn't heard any of it. She found him 40 minutes later standing near the emergency stairwell, jacket unbuttoned, one hand braced against the wall, staring at nothing. "Mr. Caldwell?" She approached carefully. "Your keynote remarks are in 20 minutes. Do you need anything? Water? I can push the timeline if—" "You heard what she said." It wasn't a question. Elena paused. "I did," she said honestly. She'd learned long ago that lying to powerful people only complicated things. "I wasn't trying to eavesdrop." "I know." He turned to look at her, really look at her this time, not as an employee, not as a schedule, but as a person standing in front of him. "What do you think about what she said?" Elena blinked. "Sir?" "You have a face that reacts to things," he said. "Most people in this building have trained themselves not to. You haven't, so I'm asking, what did you think when you heard it?" She was quiet for a moment. The music from the ballroom drifted through the walls, muffled and irrelevant. "I think," she said carefully, that someone can be surrounded by people and still be completely alone. And I think that's a harder thing to fix than most people realize. He studied her. Personal experience? Very. Something shifted between them, subtle, like a room changing temperature by a single degree, enough to notice, not enough to explain. You're not like the other coordinators they send me, Marcus said. I'll try not to take that as an insult. He almost smiled. Almost. It's not. The keynote went perfectly. Elena managed 3 last-minute changes, redirected a journalist who'd wandered into a restricted area, and handled a catering crisis involving shellfish and a senator's dietary restriction, all before 11 p.m. By midnight, the guests were thinning. By 12:30, Elena was collecting forgotten name tags and trying to calculate whether she'd make the last train home. "You can take a car service," said a voice behind her. She turned. Marcus was still there, jacket draped over his arm now, looking like a man who had nowhere urgent to be and had recently accepted that fact. "The company covers it for event staff," he added. "After midnight." "Oh, I didn't know that. Most people don't. HR buries it in the handbook." He tilted his head. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course." "Why do you work this hard?" He gestured vaguely at the evidence of her evening, the reorganized seating charts, the corrected signage, the whole invisible architecture of a night that had appeared effortless because she'd made it that way. "You're not just doing your job, you're doing it like it matters to you personally." Elena thought about her mother, about the assisted living facility 3 states away that charged more per month than Elena made in 2. About the dress she'd worn tonight because it was the nicest thing she owned. "Because it does matter," she said simply. "Everything I do matters. I can't afford for it not to." He looked at her for a long moment. "What's your situation?" he asked. Not rudely, with the directness of a man who'd learned that small talk was a waste of everyone's time. And she told him, more than she meant to, about her mother's diagnosis, about the job she'd taken straight out of community college because the 4-year university plan had fallen apart when her father left, about the years of careful budgeting and second shifts and strategic sacrifice. She didn't tell him everything. She never told anyone everything. But when she finally stopped talking, she realized she'd said more to Marcus Caldwell in 11 minutes than she'd said to most people in 11 months. "I'm sorry," she said quickly. "That was completely unprofessional." "No," he said. "It was honest. That's different." He paused. "I haven't had an honest conversation at one of these things in years." It was 1:15 a.m. when it happened. They were standing near the hallway outside the ballroom, the same glass-lined corridor where they'd first met, waiting for the car service confirmation on her phone. The building was quiet now. The chandeliers had been dimmed, the city lights pressed against the windows like something alive. "Can I tell you something?" Elena said. She didn't plan to say it. It came out the way true things sometimes did, suddenly, without permission. He looked at her. She stopped, started again. "I've spent so much of my life taking care of other people that I've never really let anyone take care of me, or get close to me." She laughed softly, embarrassed. "I'm 26 and I've had 2 dates in 3 years. I've never even been in a real relationship. I've been so focused on surviving that I forgot to actually live." She hadn't meant to say that last part. Her cheeks burned. But Marcus wasn't laughing. He wasn't looking at her with pity either, the expression she'd braced for. He was looking at her the way someone looks when they've just recognized something of themselves in an unexpected place. "I understand that more than you know," he said quietly. "You?" She raised an eyebrow before she could stop herself. "You're Marcus Caldwell. And before that, I was a kid from Baltimore who worked 3 jobs to put himself through business school." He held her gaze. "Success doesn't automatically fix the parts of you that learn to survive instead of live. It just gives you a nicer backdrop." The silence between them was different now. Warmer. "You're not what I expected," Elena admitted. "Neither are you," he said. "And I've met a lot of people." She got a call the next morning. Not from HR, not from the event company, from Marcus Caldwell's direct line. His assistant put her through before she'd fully processed what was happening. Marcus said without preamble, "On my personal operations team, it's a real role, competitive salary, full benefits, room to grow. I've been looking for someone who actually gives a damn about the work, and apparently you've been working 2 floors below me for 8 months. Elena's hand tightened on the phone. Why? She asked. Because she needed to hear the reason. Because she'd learned that gifts from powerful men always came with terms she needed to understand first. Because you're good at what you do, he said. And because you reminded me last night that not everything has to be transactional. A beat. This offer has nothing to do with the rest of our conversation. That stays separate. I want to be clear about that. She believed him. She wasn't sure she should, but she did. I need 24 hours to think about it, she said. Take 48. She took 36. And when she called back and said yes, Marcus Caldwell was quiet for exactly 3 seconds before he responded. Good, he said. And she could hear it in that single word, not triumph, not possession, but something that sounded like relief. Like a man who'd gotten used to winning things that didn't matter. Finally winning something that did. Elena hung up and looked out her apartment window at the city that had asked so much from her for so long. For the first time in years, she didn't feel like she was surviving it. She felt like she was ready, finally, completely, terrifyingly ready to actually live in it. Some secrets aren't shameful. They're just the parts of us that were waiting for the right moment and the right person to finally come to light.